bad thing about education is you can't train for this job. You cannot train for it. An internship, you still have someone in the room who's already had those kids and already set up rules of classroom management, which already puts you as the intern at an advantage with those students. Until you are the sole person in that room, and until those 25 teenagers see you, this little bleeding rabbit, and they are a pack of wolves, do you realize what's at stake? You know, I got to tell you the metaphor of that lion tamer or the tiger guy from the circus. That's kind of like teaching. The only difference is, and I hope this is true, is that I'm not going to die if I piss one of them off. But I do need to keep them all in check almost constantly. Because of the cell phone, because of all the things in their lives that occupy them that are not education-based, which are ample compared to when you or I were in school. You are constantly mother henning them, where you pull them back. Duckling thing is probably the best. Where you're constantly, leading them where they need to go. Oh, you're out of line. Come on. Oh, don't say fuck you to her. That's not how we do things. Oh my God, could you please get off your cell phone? They have no idea that the fact that they take a picture of themselves, it's considered child pornography, if it's, of course, nudity. These kids have not a clue. And here you go. You as a teacher are trying to rein in this generation who have grown up mastering the internet that we created and using it for all of these, to them, I'm sure, terribly fun, interactive things. School is the least of their focus. The only students that can pull this off are ones that parents have solidified how important it is to remove these devices from the equation, to turn them off or not allow them to have them at school at all. And if you get that referral for the cell phone, you actually get in trouble, not vice versa, where the mother comes to the school and cusses you out because you touched her stuff. Because that's what we're dealing with right now. Why did you take my son or daughter's phone? So then we have a policy not to take them. And then, of course, without a penalty, to not take them means the kids will use them with a little more zest. They may take that chance or two where the teacher's not necessarily looking. Because, they're not going to lose it. They might just get told to stop doing it. And it just propagates what ended up happening last week, 2 weeks ago rather, where the school accepts that you are allowed to use your phone in between passing periods, which I was never a fan of, and I'm not sure it's a benefit now. It's a tough habit as a teacher to break, is whenever I see a phone, we're supposed to usually, say something about it, but now we have to allow it while the bells aren't on, or class isn't in. But a teenager can't finish a conversation in 5 minutes via text. So they start these conversations when the bell rings. They go out in the hall and have an interaction. And it's not over. And since it's not over, since that discussion by text is not complete, what did she mean when she said that? She got the last text in. Now I'm nervous. They're not focused on school anyways. They're focused on, are they now not for sure going to get in little Jenny's pants? What did I never want to talk to you again? Was that irony? Was she being ironic, or did she mean it? Did she mean it this time? Back when I was in school, if you had these conversations, you had to stew with it at your desk. And since you knew you weren't going to get an answer for 15 minutes, the actual solution was to do your work, because that took your mind off things. Now, there's an answer in your pocket. You can find out what she meant. You can text her. You can Instagram her. And if she's able, she can answer. Hence, we enter the conundrum of technology. And schools are not keeping up. You know? Schools are not keeping up. Do I have a solution? I mean, we've talked about scramblers, but then parents sue the school because they can't get a hold of their kids. When the policy, by the way, is to call the school, not the student. So it might take parents some training. We might have to do some training for parents, which is, here's the process. You're not going to be able to get them at school. But they would never let that happen. Look at smartwatches now. A kid can get it in. So since we can't beat them, and I have accepted defeat, I cannot beat a cell phone fully. I have a penalty where they have to pay fake money, and that tends to work really well until you have a kid who has spent all his money on getting in trouble and then could give a fuck. And since he don't give a fuck, he'll tell you he don't give a fuck. And you escalate to where I was last week. And it's weird because the kid deserved the punishment. And I already explained why what I did wasn't even remotely racist. If I was a racist person, I would have gladly taken the escalation door that was open to me and pursued it and pushed that kid to hit me, because it would have been easy that day. Had I done that, then you can call me a racist. This kid deserves to go home for a few days. The problem is the fear of failure in schools has led students to respond to failure in a way where they can be sent home, and therefore it is no longer their fault that they're stupid or bad at school or lazy. I don't want to just say stupid. Some kids are just lazy. Some kids think they're not smart when they really are, but they think they're not, and so it's easier to get in trouble than take a test. I am tired of this fear of failure aspect. Find them a place to go where they can succeed. If that's nowhere, that's impossible. Everyone has a skill that they can do. Now, unfortunately, some of them will end up making license plates. It's a crazy thing. If they had just, learned the ability to forge metal, they may not have ended up in jail in the first place forging metal. We need an outlet. The streets provide zero outlet. And we do need to beat the neighborhood mentality. When you have family members, grown-ass women, bringing their daughters and nieces to school to fight, and filming it, and cheering them on, because whoever wins deserved it. Whoever lost deserved it. And that's the idea of the streets, then we have some serious problems. And if you're a black person that's defending this is just black culture, that is absolute bullshit. That is an excuse to cover for what you probably as well think is unacceptable. Martin Luther King would be rolling over in his grave if you propagated these ideas based on race. It's not about race. It's about being a good parent. It's about being there as a parent, even if it's step parents and or divorced families. It's about men owning up to their mistakes and impregnating people. And it's not about race. This goes both. There are white families where this is a problem. There are lots of them. This is just stuff that is part of our society, unfortunately. It's not about race. In the cities, it might look like it is. In the cities, it might look like it is, but it is not throughout the country. I think we established that more people are addicted to illegal drugs that are white than black people, which of course is what they claim in the cities, the drug problems and all this, and minorities. Now, yes, our cities need fixing. And do I think, bringing in the feds, air quotes, as Trump calls them, I don't even know what the fuck that means. The FBI ain't gonna get involved in cities. Bringing in the National Guard like it's the 1960s? No. We need a very, very, very intelligent group of people to come up with a way to help educate parents and the youth on how to raise their kids when it comes time. How to be active in their lives. We have to defeat this ghetto mentality, if that's the word we're going to use. And remember, it's not just the ghettos aspect. Trailer park mentality. Look at that chick on Dr. Phil. You're going to cash these hands or whatever. Cash a beating, and she spelled it terribly wrong. We've all got them. Doesn't matter what color your skin is. But there is one group of people that are not fully speaking out. There are plenty of white people who challenge rednecks and say you are an ignorant person, you live terribly and disgustingly, you need to stop this, you need to become educated and get a skill. But there aren't very many black people doing that. And I think we're coming out of that. But for the last 15 years that I've been an adult, it has always been, don't stereotype us, but also don't tell us to fix our own problems. Now, I don't mean that in any racist way. That could be taken differently. Meaning, if you were to come out on the news and say we need to fix our cities, a lot like Trump did, that they're terrible, you sound yourself like a terrible person, because it sounds like you're telling a group of people that they are not capable of living amongst themselves. Now, look, it's the fact that when a kid is on the street in the cities and he looks a certain way, and that can be any skin color, I'm talking about just looks and acts a certain way, society has already deemed what you may become, as well as your neighbors, as well as your parents. They may have already all deemed what they expect you to become. And what are you going to become then? If someone's already thrown in the lot and said, this is what you will be. How do you get out of that? Can you? Is it even possible? You've been labeled. Can you beat the label? And the answer is probably no.